Alright everyone, today I wanted to share with you guys a simple list of the priority order that you want to take your gear to UR quality with units when their UR gear becomes available. And this is really important because obviously certain pieces of gear are going to give you a lot more benefit than other pieces of gear. But in terms of the amount of resources that it actually takes to bring that gear to UR quality, all gear is going to take the same amount. You're going to need 10 of the engraving stones and one of those 6-star awakening stones. So obviously if you're going to get a lot more out of taking a certain piece to UR gear than another, you obviously want to work on the more powerful one first. So let's get into that priority order here. Now, number one, what you want to ask yourself is, are you using an attack set or are you using an HP set? Because that's going to dictate the order that you want to take your gear to UR. Now, if you're a little unclear on the answer to that question, obviously every unit is going to be different, but a general way to answer that is, what is the primary purpose of that unit? Is it really mostly just to do damage, or is there other uses for them? And it doesn't have to be healing or anything like that. It could just be other reasons why you really want them to stay alive. And an example for that is like Blue Lilia, for example, right? Blue Lilia could still definitely do a decent amount of damage with her AoE, but she's got other uses as well. Of course, she has that heal and that cleanse. She's got her ultimate gauge removal, but of course it's her unique here, and she just gets a lot of benefit quite simply by staying alive, because your other team members are going to get pierce rate equal to 50% of her pierce rate. So even if you get really unlucky and you're not drawing any of her damage cards, it's not just like she's useless. Just her staying alive is going to be useful for your team. So, you know, this is a unit where you would really heavily want to consider an HP set rather than an attack set. Now, there's arguments for both, of course, because her heal also scales off of attack, but I'm just saying here that's kind of like a rough guideline of kind of what to go off of if you're still deciding on attack gear versus HP gear. Now, when you have that all sorted out and you know whether you're using an attack set or an HP set, if you are using an attack set, you are going to want to, the first piece of gear to take to UR, you're going to want to take your bracers to UR first. And that's quite simply because this is the attack, the primary attack piece of gear. You've got attack at the top row, you've got defense in the middle row, and then the bottom row is HP. So if you're using an attack set, of course, you want to work on your bracers. Now, the next piece of gear that you want to work on is probably going to end up being the belt, but you could definitely make an argument for the ring if like your number one goal is just maximum damage and you want to do whatever it takes to get there. The reason why I say belt is because all the gear on the left side is going to have the most amount of base stats, right? And this gets even more benefit from UR. What URing actually does is it increases the base stats based off of this number right here. So obviously the gear on the left has higher base stats, so it gets more benefit by taking it to UR than the gear on the right side. Like the rune is basically a copy of the belt, except it has a lower base HP. So, you know, if you had the choice to either take the belt or the rune to UR, you would want to go with the belt first because of the higher base stats. But that's going to be either number 1 or number 2 right there. Now, number 3 is going to be whatever the other one was. So, like, if you did the belt as number 2, then you would go with the ring. If you did the ring as number 2, then you would end up going with the belt. And the last one there for primary attack-based units would end up being the rune. Now, number 5 and number 6 are 2 pieces of gear that I have not even taken to UR myself on a lot of units. And this is kind of the point where you really want to think to yourself. Now, obviously, if it's a unit that you really, really like and you're going to make UR gear for them, nobody's going to stop you. Go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. If you guys are a big spender, if you're a whale, if you could buy the actual engraving stones with real money, that's a whole separate argument right there. But this is really the point where you might even want to consider not making the other 2 pieces, or at the very least, you know, maybe make the necklace but skip out on the earrings, because the actual stats that you get from the middle row are going to be very low in comparison to the benefit that you get from the top row and the bottom row. Now, if you are going to fully max out your UR gear, you're going to make all 6 pieces. In terms of the order of the last 2, you would then want to go with the necklace as number 5, and it's quite simply because of that rule where the gear on the left side is going to have more stats. So that would leave the earring here would end up being number 6. And if you are totally okay with having 5 out of 6 UR gear, you really don't need to feel too bad about not bringing the earrings to UR, because it's defense, which is the lowest scaling stat, especially for your combat class. It's also on the right side, so it's lower stats overall. It's the return that you get in terms of the power level of URing the earrings compared to the belt. You're going to get so much more out of the belt, which is why this whole priority order was so important. They both take the same resources, 10 engraving stones, 1 6-star awakening stone, and I believe 500,000 gold. But if you're going to get way more out of the belt, that's obviously one of the first things that you want to do rather than the earrings. So I just wanted to go over this. Now, this is obviously a generalization. There might be some exceptions to certain units, but this should hopefully give you a baseline here of the priority order and what to take your gear to UR. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Really do appreciate all the support, everyone. Thank you so much. If you want to help out as well, leaving a quick like only takes about a quarter of a second. Thank you to all of you who decide to quickly do that. It really helps the channel out a lot, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now, or in the suggested videos to your right or below. More guides, videos, tutorials, and fun stuff just like this, all on the channel. Feel free to check it out, but if not, until next time, have a fantastic day, everyone. Take care. This is Salt of the Salted Guild, signing out.